Imagine this. You're 20 years old and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for a crime you didn't commit. It's a story that's become one man's reality back in the 1970s after he was convicted of first-degree murder. Prosecutors say a strand of hair is what helped put him behind bars. And that's exactly what helped him walk out of prison a free man just a few days ago. Alysia Burgio sat down with Watkins for a one-on-one interview. Alysia, what can you tell us?
Allie, you hear stories all the time about people getting convicted of a crime they didn't commit. But according to the National Registry of Exonerations, Ladura Watkins has served time in prison longer than any other falsely accused prisoner in Michigan. And while nearly 40 years of his life was spent behind bars, he says it changed him into the person he is today. 42 years ago may seem like an eternity for some people. But to Ladura Watkins, who was sentenced to life in prison for a crime he did not commit, April 15, 1976, seems like yesterday.
I kind of laughed when they sentenced me, but I know what I was feeling. What I was feeling is that this was unbelievable. This is a mistake. You know, this is something else added to this.
On that day in April, he was convicted of murder and robbery. He says he never thought he'd step foot outside prison again.
It was kind of sad. It was real sad, you know, because I knew I was leaving everything I loved.
Throughout the years, Watkins thought about how he could be falsely accused of such a serious crime. He says the days turned into months, the months turned into years. But throughout it all, he never lost hope.
I wrote Cooley Law School. I told them about my case, some of the circumstances in the case.
Back in the 1970s, prosecutors used a single strand of hair to convict Watkins. When attorneys at Cooley Law School decided to take on his case, they found that the hair comparison evidence used to lock Watkins behind bars did not meet today's legal standards. It was enough to prove his innocence.
It seemed like the stars started realigning.
We were convinced by Mr. Watkins that his case was worthy of attacking the forensic testimony and evidence presented in his case.
Marla Mitchell-Sishon, director of the Cooley Law School Innocence Project, says her team helps to free a lot of prisoners, but Watkins' story is the most significant.
It's our first murder exoneration. Second, because unfortunately, Mr. Watkins has been in prison the longest of any other Michigan prisoner.
Which led to an emotional day for Watkins when he stepped foot outside the Detroit courthouse, regaining his freedom. But he says those 4 decades behind bars helped him to reevaluate his life for the better.
Don't give up hope. Keep fighting. Keep that American spirit alive.
Right now, Watkins is living with his family in Detroit. He says he's just taking things one day at a time. Allie, back to you.